Welcome back to another episode of the Glory Reds podcast. I've joined in the studio with my boy Benito. What's good, my guy?
What's good, Pastor D? What's happening, man?
Yeah, man, all is well. We had a little chat earlier. I explained to you I'm absolutely knackered. So, yesterday was a very eventful day, and I wish I was part of that, emotional roller coaster because at some point, just like all other games, I kind of had that feeling we're going to draw. And because I wasn't watching the game yesterday because of the Rugby World Cup, and coincidentally, the England and the SA game started at the exact same time, so it was really difficult for me to pull focus into one game. But yeah, I never really got invested in the match when I was watching it, but I was keeping tabs of what was happening, and at some point I'm like, I wonder why the score is still 1-1, but he did speak about, if there's any team that can pull off such an upset, it's United, Thankfully, because I actually didn't know how we considered the goal until I think it was like half time or something like that. It could, you know what? I think I actually found out today that we considered the goal through a penalty. I actually thought it was through open play when I watched the highlights, and I was about to have a go at Onana, but thank God, it wasn't a situation where you can go. And not that I'm looking forward to having a go at Onana, but you know what I mean. You get to a certain point, and But anyway, this episode we're obviously having our match reaction, so we're going to react to the game that happened yesterday. I'll give as much 2 cents as I can from whatever little I watched, and yeah. But with that being said, take it away. What happened? Like, what's up? You can, for those maybe who didn't watch the game, maybe you can even give us the starting lineup just so we know who played, and was there anyone in that 11 that surprised you, who did start, who didn't start, etc. So yeah, take it away.
All right, Pastor D. So before we actually get into this, I actually didn't watch the SA game. And
Okay.
I'll explain why. Like I was hit with a dilemma because both games started at the same time.
Exactly.
And I've been watching the rugby, and I told you, like I wish I had said it from the beginning of the World Cup that the final is going to be New Zealand and South Africa, because I knew it. I felt it. I'm like, the rugby gods are saying, nah, this nation has 3 World Cups. This other one has 3 World Cups. Let these guys duke it out so one can have bragging rights. So I had this feeling. So I sacrificed the SA game. Bruh.
Yeah, because you knew. And you know what, man? And you know what? Because that game was so butt clenching. It had everyone convinced that SA is getting knocked out, and how they pulled it off in the last minute was beyond me, because I literally couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, this game was meant for Ben. Ben lives for these type of sporting moments where the impossible happens. You know what I mean? Where all the odds are just against you, and there's just no hope at all. And then there was just a Scott McTominay moment, and then, boom, SA all of a sudden is ahead, and you're like, how? And the messed up part about it is the time in which they went ahead. Because in rugby, there's no extra time. Once time is done, is done. There's no time in rugby. Once done is done, And I'm looking at the time, I'm like, there's no way England is coming back. There's no way. They wanted it in the nick of time.
So when I checked the score line, I saw 16-15. I'm like, what the hell? And then I saw the highlight, and I'm like, whoa. Oh my God, I missed the crack of a game. I was so happy because on both fronts, the Box won and United won.
True.
Now United, now we're going to jump into United because this is what it's all about.
Exactly.
Erik ten Hag is another manager he's now, bro, he has got a lot of questions. I don't want to say he's starting to get on my nerves, but he kind of is, because yesterday, we see the starting lineup, and I was just like, okay, this is strange because, we had the debate about Scott McTominay. We were like, does he deserve to be in the squad and blah, blah, blah. Like if he does deserve to play in the squad, we should be deploying him in the positions where he excels in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yesterday he was playing right next to Amrabat in the midfield with Bruno playing up top in the number 10 position.
Yeah.
And so the goal line, obviously Onana, back four, Dalot, Evans, Maguire, and Lindelof, which I was like asking myself, I'm like, okay, why did we have to keep on using Amrabat all those times when you were putting him at left back if you are now convinced that because everybody knew or saw Lindelof pull off a nice job at left back the one time, and we thought that he was going to carry on, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He ended up putting Amrabat back there. So that was a question mark for me. I'm like, if you have decided to put Lindelof there, then why did you sacrifice all these other games? So that was one point. Okay. Then he puts Scott McTominay inside. And already, it's like I was worried because I was like, Maguire, Evans, Amrabat, Scott McTominay. Maguire and Evans are going to need some sort of support. Amrabat is not going to be able to do it all by his own. It's just one of those things. So Scott McTominay is going to be there. And he was there. And there was just confusion and it was mad. Our midfield was confused. There was no cohesion. It was a mess. It was just one of those bam, 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 doom, doom nonsense. I didn't like it. And then, like what Scott does and always does when he's in and around that box, is he latched onto a Bruno Fernandes pass and he does what Scott does. He's just clinical. Boom, bang, go.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was like, okay, Scott, like, you've scored this goal, but the entire game you've done jack. Like you've done fuck all in this whole game. And you've just produced this moment of brilliance. I get it. And what was funny was that like leading up until that goal, Sheffield United were the ones that were running the show. They were the ones that were stringing passes together and looked like the more threatening side. Dalot, yesterday he scored a banger. But yesterday he was put on toast. He was sent to the supermarket to go and look for Siswa and Pap. Like they took him to town yesterday. And it was just that moment of brilliance where he scored that goal. That's the only time I can say that, yeah, he did something. But other than that, overall, I can challenge somebody right now who's going to come here and say Dalot. And he was given man of the match by the United faithful. And that it's only because of the goal.
Yeah.
Then, Rashford. Bro. Just like we discussed. Everything we discussed. Same and same decisions. Like he had moments where he was putting in maybe a good ball in. But then it's one of those like you could have made this decision earlier. You could have given the ball to Rasmus a lot more earlier. Anthony, very poor. I didn't like, bro, yesterday's game made me start saying, I'm sick and tired of these first team players, these senior players. I want the kids. I'm sick and tired. I want the kids to come in. And the thing is with the kids, they're kids. There's not too much expectation. You just want them to do their job, the basic job that they do. Crossing balls, making runs, taking on players. These big guys, senior guys are not doing it, bro.
Yeah.
They're not doing it. Yesterday's, like our front three, bruh, the commentators were saying that our front three has got one goal in, I don't know, 14 games or whatever. I don't know how many hours or whatever. It was a weird in statistic. And I was just like, I can't take this. I can't. He took off Anthony. He took off Højlund. He left Rashi on for a very, very long time. Only took him out later on. But what was amazing was the substitution of Eriksen. Eriksen, when he came into that midfield, bruh, there was peace. There was balance. There was harmony. There were people there bruh, he was just orchestrating things like it was beautiful to watch. And then you start to see Bruno settle down. Then you start to see Amrabat settle down.
Yeah.
Then, oh my God, what's going on? Bruh, that midfield three of Amrabat, Bruno, and Eriksen yesterday, it worked.
Yeah.
I was wondering where Mason Mount was.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that he didn't start. He brings Mason Mount in 88 or 80 something minute.
Yeah.
Then there was this weird period or weird moment. I don't know if anybody picked it up. I don't know if it was just me. But there was this moment I looked at Mount chasing for a ball with like him and the opposition player were chasing for the ball. And Mount looked weirdly and very creepily slow. Like he was. I don't know what I saw. Maybe I'm just seeing too much, but that was something very weird. I didn't understand. And then I started asking myself when I saw that, like, is this the reason why Mason Mount didn't start? But then no, Mason Mount has been back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Why did Scott McTominay get preference over Mason Mount? Like that game, we could have buried Sheffield United a long time ago if he had just put in the right players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Amrabat, Mount, Bruno in that midfield, or Amrabat, Eriksen and Bruno in that midfield, and stop wasting time. So this is there where what I realized is that we are very far from actually having our full starting lineup. He is still in that period where he is chopping and changing and trying to see what works.
Yeah.
It's very concerning because we thought that we were past that. We thought that we're in a period where like we were now thinking now it's about the players. Like if the manager is now bringing new players in here to do a job and you guys are not there doing the job, cool. We get it. Us as fans, we can tell who to blame, whether it is to blame the coach for starting a player he shouldn't start or whether he made a mistake. You know what I mean? So we're reaching a point where it's now starting to look very sus for Erik ten Hag. Yes, we won. We take it. Like it was just one of those things but it was a very poor win. It was I didn't take satisfaction in that win. We won, yes, I was happy, but I didn't feel it. It wasn't even the proper tribute to Sir Bobby. For me. It was a struggle. A tribute is just supposed to go there and smash teams. It's all smiles and laughs, and you guys are like, you're taking the game like a joke, Nah, it wasn't that. You could see from Dalot's goal, the relief from the players, we finally scored because this goal came out of nowhere. We wouldn't have. And when he did make those substitutions in the midfield, we were now having the ball more. We were now a proper threat. So and I remember we had a conversation talking about Casemiro. Are we going to miss Casemiro? And I said nah, we shouldn't. And we were not supposed to miss him for Sheffield United. You know what I mean? But dude, that first half yesterday, I was just these guys are not sitting here and trying to tell me that they miss Casemiro. Like right now I'm here missing Casemiro. So they're telling me that we're missing Casemiro against this bottom team that is losing. Nah, you guys are taking a piss. So I was annoyed. I didn't like it. I took the win. I was more. My night was made even more. Like my night was more complete, finding out that the Box won compared to United winning the game. Like that's how it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, man, I hear you because even at the end of the match, I'm like, really? Like you guys had to fight for this win. Sheffield.
Bro.
Sheffield. I felt so maybe disgusted is too much of a strong word to use, but I felt disappointed, man. I'm like, you guys, come on, man. You should be doing better. We're gonna face Copenhagen now, which are a better side than Sheffield. What does that mean?
What does that mean
for us? What does that mean for us? If we can't comfortably beat Sheffield United, that means we're gonna struggle against Copenhagen, which means we're gonna get absolutely demolished by City if nothing changes.
Which means we need to pack our bags for Europa.
Exactly. Because once you lose against Copenhagen, that's it. And we did advocate for McTominay to start, but not in a defensive position.
Exactly.
We said if Scott McTominay has to start, it has to be up front. Here's an interesting fact. Scott McTominay, 9 passes the whole fucking game.
Yeah. You see now, it explains how he was useless in that game.
Exactly.
Literally let him
Exactly. And on top of that, yes, he scored the goal, which wasn't even like a clean goal, And I don't want to discredit it, but it wasn't clean. You understand what I mean? So it wasn't even a type of goal like Dalot to rave about, number one. Number two, because he doesn't have a defensive-minded, you know what I mean, whatever, he also goes ahead and concedes a penalty. I don't want to completely blame it on him, but defensive-minded players know what to do in those type of situations. But here's Scott McTominay, arms out, can't argue it. You check what I'm saying. So,
bro,
yes, he deserved to start, but I think he shouldn't have played in that position. We had other players, we had other options, and I think this has been the biggest frustration from United players. We're looking at players like Pellistri, Maybury, who are clearly on way better form than Antony, but they're not starting. But you'll rather make shift Bruno in that position. We had Mount to start. We had Eriksen to start, but he decided to start Scott McTominay just because he had a last-minute sensation at Brentford. And we spoke about this in the Brentford reaction, and we're like, oh, man, yes, Scotty did well, but, is he now going to get rewarded for this because he scored the 2 goals in the last minute? But then at the same time, it's like, but how is he going to be rewarded? And I feel it's really unfair. And this sort of what brings me back to the whole Jadon Sancho situation, of why I can sort of understand his frustrations, because here's a player that has been like sidecasted and basically being told that I want you to leave the club, and he's being rewarded just because he scored 2 goals in the last minute. But when he's being rewarded, it's not even being rewarded in a way that's going to benefit Scott McTominay, because this is a once-off, and this is against Sheffield United, right? If this was any other game against a bigger team, Scott McTominay was probably never going to get that chance to score the goal. And those 9 passes could have easily dropped down to a way lesser numbers. You know what I mean? So I was really disappointed with that starting 11. And like you said, I think a lot of these players need to see bench. Ten Hag needs to stop this favoritism thing, and he's just be like, Rashford, you're not on form, my boy. You're gonna be on the bench until you get your head on the game. You'll make cameos, we'll start you in the other stuff, but right now we need to start the likes of Garnacho. We need to give Garnacho another try at it. We need to give Martial a run at it. Martial has been fit. There's nothing wrong with him. He cleared. He's good. Obviously, not starting as a number 9, but we all know Martial can play comfortably in Rashford's position. Why not start Martial and Haaland? Why not? He can stay in that position. He's a way better dribbler than Rashford, and he's a way clinical striker than Rashford.
And better decision maker than Rashford.
Because he makes passes that Rashford doesn't make. So if Martial is on form and he's fit, why are we not starting him? Why are we starting a Rashford that's not on form and clearly struggling for confidence, clearly struggling for good decision making, clearly struggling to get goals? Why are we starting him? So I really would like to see Martial starting in that next fixture alongside with Rasmus, and probably alongside with Maybury or or Pellistri, and drop Antony as well. To your point, start the kids. Put Bruno behind them or give Bruno a break. Start Mountain number 10. Put Amrabat, put Eriksen, and then we just have to play that back 4 because we have got no other defensive options. And according to the players that he has, right? Because I think 2 episodes ago we spoke about, I think you spoke about having like a back 3. I think a 3-4, what is it? A 3-4-3, something like that. 3-5-2. So you can also just go ahead and try experiment with that, because it could be more beneficial to us than trying to force the current players that we have into this current system that he wants to play, because clearly it's not working. So if he's going to like chop and change the starting lineup, he might as well chop and change the formation to see what suits the current players that we have on board. Because I really do believe it will work to our benefit if you try something different, because these players unfortunately just can't fit into the current system. When all our players are fit, yes, I do believe his system will work just like it worked last season. But right now, with the available players that we have, it's just not working. It's not. And yes, one of these games, Harry Maguire, Lindelof, whatever, can have a decent, okay game. But as soon as we're going to go and face a bigger team, it's going to be a problem. And even when we spoke about the teams that United have beat this season, are teams that we're expected to beat. And all these teams are sitting at the bottom of the league. All the ones that were struggled against and lost have been bigger teams, which are sitting above us. The Spurs, Arsenal, Brighton, etc. Right? Crystal Palace. So, yeah, man, Ten Hag needs to do something, because I really feel like the pressure is now mounting on him if he doesn't, sort something out in time. It could really get worse from here. It could really, really get really bad.
No, yeah, you're right, D. And there's something that I wanted to say. I find it very weird that he didn't even use the youngsters in this game, especially against Sheffield United. It worried me, because this manager is really taking a piss sometimes, because I have this weird feeling that had it been a difficult game, like let's say Man City, and we are down or struggling, these are the kind of games where he now wants to throw in these youngsters in the deep end to start pulling rabbits out of the hat when these senior players are not doing the job. I find that very unfair. That game yesterday, you mentioned Hannibal, you mentioned Pelestri. These are the kind of games for these youngsters, hungry, energetic players who do the basic. They're not trying to be superstars. They're not trying to do anything. They just want to put in a graph.
Yeah.
And yesterday's game against Sheffield United was perfect, especially to experiment with the youngsters. Because if we go back and look at all these other senior players, right now they are looking tired. Some of them are looking knackered. Some of them look off form. Some of them just look like they're just out of it. It's like, okay, so where do we turn to? The youngsters are only people. You look, Garnacho, when he came on yesterday, he was looking electric as usual. And I also felt if Pelestri was on the other side as well instead of Rashford. Like, I believe those two wingers are going to do more this season compared to Rashford and Anthony do.
True.
You know what I mean? Just based on how everything is going. So my thing was, I was annoyed that he didn't even try to get them in the mix. And we have very strong games. So, for example, we have this Copenhagen game. On paper, it is easy. We should be walking over them based on history, based on blah, blah, blah. But then on current form and everything, this is a difficult game for us. You know? So, is he now going to now deploy these kids in an important European game? Like, I get also the Premier League was important, but we were playing against Sheffield United, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We were not playing freaking Newcastle. We're not playing a stronger team that we needed to bring in all our big boys to go there and perform that nonsense that they showed yesterday. Because we played gunk.
Yeah.
We played. It was not good on the eye. Yes, we had possession. We could say we had control over the game, but it wasn't enough. The players were just wrong. It was just wrong. I am waiting for that day where all our returning starting lineup is there. I can't wait. I can't wait, because I want to see if there's going to be any more excuses.
Yeah.
We want to see what our first team, fully fit, everybody. We want to see what it's capable of. I think at this point of time, that's the only thing that we can wait for as United fans. Because right now, right up until we get guys back fit and ready, we are going to go through a roller coaster of mismatches and players going into positions that we don't want them in. Eric Ten Hag making wrong substitutions, doing all these things. And in a weird way, it almost looks like, because he's hit with the injury crisis, he didn't get the players that he wanted, so he's just trying to figure things out. That could be an excuse. But again, you can't keep on using it because every other club is going through the exact same thing. Clubs are hit with injuries. There are red cards flying all over the place. People are suspended. People are banned. People are this. Everybody is missing somebody important in their squad. There should be no excuses now. Like, we now need to adapt. You know what I mean? Everybody's adapting. You look at Liverpool, man. We thought that they were kind of going to struggle in the beginning of the season. Now they're right up there.
Yep.
This guy managed to build. Bro, he managed to rebuild a midfield in a couple of weeks, and he's got them running.
Yep.
We've had the same players since last season. We've brought in some to come in and change, but still, game week 9, we've played a couple of games, still nothing. Yeah, far, D, and it's really frustrating to see.
It is.
Until Luke Shaw, Varane fully, and Martinez fully, and Kobe Mano fully, and
Casemiro
fully, like everybody fully fit.
Everybody.
We should forget about we should forget about being the way we were last season when we were just running riot through, through teams. Like, it's not gonna happen. So that's my frustration. But man, I don't know what to say. Like, it's not like we didn't know that this was going to happen. We knew, we said it. We just thought that would prove us wrong.
True. And you know what's so funny? I remember in those early days when everyone was, it's the Glazers. I'm like, guys, this Glazer excuse is gonna run out, because everyone was on some, no, we can't blame the manager, it's the Glazers. I'm like, look, it's not about blaming the manager, but at the end of the day, he just has to deal with what he's dealt with, what he has on hand, And to my point, you can probably bring up the Glazer excuse when you're playing City or whatever, but against Sheffield, if we lost this game, are you honestly gonna come and say the? You understand what I mean, fam? So Ten Hag, man, I don't know. Like, I'm also just tired of talking and saying stuff because we should be doing better, And honestly, like you said, waiting for these injuries is like waiting for new signings for this club, honestly, because it seems that they're the only ones who are gonna turn our season around, and we can only hope that we can keep the boat afloat until January. You know what I mean? Before the turn of the second half of the season. Because if not, again, it's going to be, unfair pressure for the players that are going to return to, like, save our season. You check. Because if we're not going to maintain this 5-point deficit between us and fourth, by Christmas, then it's late for us. It's gonna be late for us. We need to, and we're just lucky because obviously City beat Brighton and all these teams in between us and fourth. They're not winning. You know what I mean? And this is where we need to take advantage because they get beat by City. We must beat Sheffield. If they go and play a difficult team and they get beat, we must make sure that we also go and win our game. So it just seems every game here on end is like an important game for Man United. There's no chill game for Man United because of the position we put ourselves in so early into the season, So
and with the injuries, we can wait for them to come back. But with injuries, players when they return from injuries, it's not something that just happens one time. Some players have got that gift; they just hit the ground running immediately. They get there. But an injured player who has been out for a very, very long time needs to find his form, needs to find his rhythm. It takes time. Like, for example, let's just say all our players come back at the same time. We're going to wait another 2 weeks at least for them to get back to a reasonable form, or you know what I mean? So it's and in those we could get smashed, we could lose.
Exactly.
And then we'll be like, oh, we were waiting for all these guys to come back. But look, injuries are also a different ballgame. Players psychologically are trying to not repeat the same injury. They're trying to protect themselves psychologically. So they'll do everything in their power not to get injured again. And that affects how you play. You don't play with You don't play with freedom anymore. You play thinking that I need to make sure that I don't injure myself again or get back into because that will just destroy his morale, and that can kill whatever momentum that he had been building prior to the injury that he was. Because hey, it's a big thing. So man, even with the injuries, like you said, we can't put pressure on them saying that they're going to come back and save the day. Nah.
Yeah.
We shouldn't expect that. We shouldn't put that much pressure. We should create a situation where these guys, they kind of speed up their process because they feel good, because they're happy that the team's playing well. We are winning. They just want to come, that adrenaline of like, nah, man, I want to get back with the boys and just slide in. And, we need to create kind of scenario for them. But for playing like the way we played just today, like
it's gonna be a long season for us.
Nah, man. Onana, I wanted to say something yesterday. Onana there was this. You remember Brewster? Brewster, the youngster from Liverpool, the academy. He was a striker.
Yeah.
He's playing for Sheffield United. So yesterday, he hit a rock like a young
belter. I saw that
belter. It was swerving. So Onana was like, he made a dive, like he went this way and then kind of like, and then I'm like, Onana, you want to start? What kind of style of blocking is this? Yeah, what are you trying to do? Only to realize that the ball was swerving. So I'm like,
the one that killed me was at the beginning of the game. I don't know which Sheffield United player took a shot, low ball, and then Onana saved it. And the look on the Sheffield United player killed me, fam, because he had this shocked look, like, wait, you saved it? I was laughing, man. Oh, man.
That was supposed to go in.
That was supposed to go in. Onana doesn't save those type of shots, So, like, even I was shocked because once that ball left his foot and it was a low, and I'm like, this is it, And then he saves it, and then the player like this, zoom into the player's face, and he just has this like, you know what I mean, confused look on his face, like
the audacity to even have that reaction, the bloody
fam. I'm like, man, it's that bad, eh? Yeah. But man. Anything else you want to say?
Nah, man. I wanted to address the Maguire situation because I honestly thought that Maguire had a good game, and this is an isolated situation. It's not like Harry Maguire is our savior. Nah, it is not. It's just like the game that we had, I think, against Brentford, because he played in that game. He was good. I gave him praise. It was the same thing with this one. And what you could say, the thing that helped Maguire was that Sheffield United were playing to his strengths. Harry Maguire is a beast in the air. You like it, you don't like it. You think he's what? You think he's what? In the air, Maguire, like those aerial balls, 50-50, trying to challenge them. Forget that story when you're doing it with Captain Maguire. So he had that on pat. He was making runs. You know what was funny? I was even telling my boy here yesterday. I was like, Harry Maguire is looking more of a captain now, because there was a moment where I think it was the penalty appeal. Like everyone was for the penalty. And Harry Maguire was there standing tall and acting and behaving like a captain, talking to the ref. And I'm like, look at this guy acting like a captain. Now he's not a captain. Look at him. I'm like, boom. Yeah. And he was there. I liked it. I was like, the pressure is not on him anymore.
Exactly.
In situations like this, we're all asking ourselves, where's Maguire? Why isn't he talking to the referee? We will find Bruno there moaning and Maguire was there, front and center. I mean, but again, he had his vulnerabilities. That game also. It's one of those situations, again, like we mentioned. We didn't really miss Casemiro, but instead of Scott McTominay, I would have either preferred Eriksen. Eriksen or Mount. I think that would, or even Hannibal, bro. even Hannibal,
100%. Yeah,
because you needed energy and that cohesion, like people that are thinking 1-2 passes and moving and running. Like we needed that.
yeah,
Today it was just a lot of lackluster and what's his name? Scott McTominay doing that thing where he's like allowing you
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
doing that
Come
thing
through,
and
like,
come through. Like it was annoying. But I don't
yeah,
want people to go on Maguire's head, because even the thing that I don't like is they're shining the light on Maguire and making him look like he's some hero, because after the game they started posting stats that how many
yeah,
games with Maguire we have won and the ones we've
nonsense,
lost. You know, there was
dude.
this whole thing, they're putting stats there trying to prove a point. Yo, listen, it's
Damn,
unnecessary. Don't do it. We
exactly,
know
exactly,
Maguire. We know what he's capable of. And as much as
exactly.
you do and put all these stats, he's
Yeah,
choice defender for Manchester United,
yeah.
whether he likes it or not.
Mhm, mhm.
He's just a very fit player, and he happens to be in the situation that he is in, and blah
True.
blah blah. They shouldn't try and say, oh, because you guys won,
Mm.
United
Yeah.
fans. We know our
Mhm.
players. We know
Exactly.
our players. And
Exactly.
yes, Maguire had a good game, but that's just it.
Yeah.
Man City is going
That's
to be
it.
a totally different story
Yep.
against
Yep.
Arsenal, against Tottenham, against big
We'll
teams,
see. We'll see where
Newcastle.
those stats come in play now.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And then all these stupid mistakes, they start exposing you. Sheffield United
Mhm.
were not, they didn't put them in under so much pressure. It was,
Yeah.
United,
Yeah.
we man, I get annoyed by that,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
we put ourselves in situations that we don't have to. And
Yeah.
then we fight back, and then we win, and then it looks like, oh, we have got character and this, but
Yeah.
no.
Mhm.
Boys, you put yourselves there. You don't score,
Yeah.
first of all. You don't pass each other. You think you're all
Mhm.
superstars. Everybody thinks that
Mhm.
he wants to put the whole thing under his shoulder. Like, nah,
Yeah.
man.
Mm.
But other than that, I'll take the win. I took the
Yeah.
win for St. Bobby. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
they had to win.
Yeah. They had
Yesterday,
to.
if they didn't win, it would have been blasphemy. Blasphemy in the
Mhm.
highest order. So
Yep.
I'll take that for that. And
Yeah.
yeah, but hey, man, the gaffer needs to do better. He
True.
needs to do better,
Yeah.
because hey, things are not adding up now. Things are not
Mm.
adding up at all. They're not.
True.
Like the Mason Mount one, something needs to be explained. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did Mason Mount sit out that game, that
Mm.
entire game?
Yeah.
He came on last minute. Like, what do you expect Mount to do? What?
Mm. Mm.
Like what?
We can
And
only at this point, because he didn't come on, Varane didn't come on, you know, like we said about these players being
Varane
back in
came on.
training,
He did.
but it doesn't. Oh, he did. Oh, my bad. Okay.
Came on for
But yeah.
Evans pulled.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, it's fine. You got some game time, but I remember we did mention to say that yeah, these players are in training, but doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna start.
Yeah.
The regular thing. Did Regulon come on yesterday?
Nope.
Yeah. So we can safely assume that they're probably going to start and feature in the
Copenhagen. Yeah.
match. So yeah, man, it's a difficult match, eh? If you're a betting person, I would say tread cautious towards that one.
Just say that United will, like, if you're a betting person and you come to the United
Yeah,
game, just bet that there will be a goal in that game. That's the only
yeah,
thing I can say.
that's the yeah.
Only thing I can. Don't say United will win. Like, with United, it's all about evidence. We need to
Yeah.
see. We can only tell you that now. You see, like last season.
Yeah.
Last season, when we went through that turnaround, there was a
Yeah.
dramatic change. It
Yes.
was difficult to ignore. We were
Yeah.
playing nice football. We were stringing passes. We were attacking. We were kind of scoring. We were doing the business. It was showing. We were holding on to possession for long amounts of amount of minutes, and you could see it. You could tell that now. And so when you're going into a game, you know that now we're going to smash this game. But this season, that's not the case.
Yeah.
This season, we have not yet found our rhythm. We are still sort of like trying to get the puzzle together, which is weird. We thought that the puzzle was already set, just last pieces come in and, complete it. But it looks like it's still a little bit scrambled. And the manager's trying to fit in the paces. Fit in the places.
Puzzle pieces. Yeah.
Yeah,
man. All right. I think we can end it off here. And any last remarks before we close off this episode?
Nah, man. R.I.P. Sir Bobby, man. R.I.P.
Yeah,
legend of the club. Like, he is the one man that we could easily say, like, if Manchester United was a human being, Sir Bobby,
he embodied it.
So he embodied that. Like,
he embodied it. He personified it. Yeah, everything. True.
And he's 100%. A big miss. Yes, we never got to watch him during our time.
Yeah.
19 Futsal. That's cool. Yeah. But he's the legend of the club. And one thing I love about like English football and stuff, the history. They remind you of players that have come before you, have done it.
Yeah.
And Sir Bobby has got an extraordinary story. Surviving a plane crash, coming back, winning Champions League, winning a World Cup. He has got one of the most spectacular stories out there.
True.
And he was an ambassador to the club. He's part of the Holy Trinity.
Yep.
He is like, his passing has really hit home. If you're a United fan, if you're a United supporter, his passing, whether you knew him, whether you saw him play or not, his passing has hit home. And man, R.I.P. Sir Bobby.
R.I.P. Yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Glory Reds podcast. You can catch us on all your favorite podcasting streaming platforms. We're on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Zencaster, Spotify. Catch us everywhere you can find Glory Reds FC. Don't forget to visit our website at gloryredsfc.co.uk. Jump onto our community page where you can join our WhatsApp group. You can join our fantasy league and also subscribe or follow our social media platforms. I think that's it. Thank you once again for listening to this episode. I was about to say something else. On the Glory Reds FC podcast, and we'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.